All right, so for this section, we are going to be looking at writing exponential functions that are in the form y equals ab to the x. All right, and we're going to be given different information based on that graph, and we're going to try and find the equation based on the given information. So first thing, we are given for number 1 a base of 2. So that means my b is going to equal 2, and whose graph passes through the point 3, 4. So the first thing I do is I'm going to fill in what my base is. So y equals a times b, which is 2 to the x. All right, so what I need for a final equation is I need a number for a and a number for b. So I need to find out what my initial amount is, or what my a is, and they give us the point 3, 4, so that's my x and my y. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in the x and the y into my equation. So we got 4 equals a times 2 to the third. Okay, so now I'm going to do 2 to the third. I'm going to evaluate that. So that's 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 to the third is 8. And then I have times a, so 8a equals 4. And then we want to solve for a, so I'm going to divide both sides by 8 to get the a by itself. So we get a equals 4 over 8, which is divide by 4, 1 over 2. So now I have what the a is, and I have what the b is. I can write my final equation, y equals, my a is 1/2, and then my b is 2 to the x. So we leave the x and the y just like you would for y equals mx plus b. We fill in the m and we fill in the b, and we leave the x and y as those variables. We're going to do the same thing, leave the x and y as the variables, and fill in the a and fill in the b. And so this is my equation of my exponential function that is modeling that data. And we don't multiply these two because PEMDAS tells me exponent will come first, so I would have to do 2 to the x before multiplying 1/2 times whatever that value is. So you can't multiply those a and the b together. Okay, next one we've got given is a base of 0.3, so my base equals 0.3. So it's going to be y equals a times b, which is 0.3 to the x. And then I'm given that it goes through the point x, y, 3, 13.5. So I'm going to fill in 13.5 for my y equals a times 0.3 to the third. All right, so now I'm going to do 0.3 to the third. So 0.3 in my calculator raised to the third is going to equal 0.027 times a, which is a there, and then we've got 13.5. Now I want to solve for a, so I'm going to divide by that number that's with a, which is 0.027. So I'm going to do 13.5 divided by 0.027, and I get my a is equal to, big number, 500. So my initial value is 500. So my equation for this is y equals my a, which is 500, times my b, which is 0.3 to the x. Final answer. Okay. So now it's a little bit different for number 3 because I'm scanning ahead and I don't see with a base written anywhere. So I'm going to have to approach number 3, and it looks like number 4 a little differently than I did for 1 and 2 because I'm not given a base. So I'm only given 2 points. So I'm going to start out with the 0 one, x and y. And I'm going to fill that into my equation because I don't know a or b. So I'm going to do my y is -2 equals my a times my b to the x, which is 0. All right, now what I can do is anything raised to the 0 power. B to the 0 is going to equal 1. So that's 1 times a. So equals -2, divide by 1, a equals -2. So now we have what a is. So I've got y equals -2 times b to the x. Okay, so that's good. And now I'm given another point, another x and y, so I'm going to plug that in again. So we've got -6 equals -2 times b to the 1. So that's going to be -6 equals -2b. I divide by -2 to solve for b, so b equals +3. So now I have the a and I have the b, so I can write my equation, which is y equals -2 times b to the x, so times 3 to the x. And that's my equation. All right. So for the next one, we're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to start out with my given point, which is 1, 6, so x and y. So we've got 6 equals a times b to the x, which is 1. So we've got 6 is equal to a times b. Oh, well, that's weird. So, I'm going to hold off on that for 1 second. I'm going to do the next point, and I'm going to fill in the x and the y for this one. So, 54 equals a times b to the 3rd. So I've got 54 equals a b to the 3rd. Okay, so now let's see. I have what is matching, which is an a. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve for a. Okay, so I'm going to get a by itself here, and I'm going to get a by itself here. All right, so I'm going to divide by b to the 3rd to get the a by itself. Okay, so we get a equals 54 over b to the 3rd. And then I do the same thing over there. I solve for a, so I divide by b. I divide by b to get the a by itself. A equals 6 over b. Now, because they're both equal to a, I can set them both equal to each other. So 6 over b equals 54 over b to the 3rd. And I'm going to cross multiply. 54b equals, cross multiply, 6b to the 3rd. Okay. So I can divide both sides by 6. So I have 9b equals b to the 3rd. I can divide both sides by b to cancel out a b. So I get 9 equals, and if I have b to the 3rd over b, that's going to be b squared. I take the square root. B is going to equal 3. Whoa, that was tough. Now I have what B is, so I can go back and figure out what A is. Because I have that over here, so I have A is equal to 6 divided by B. B is 3. A equals 6 over 3, which is 2. So we've got final answer, this was a really hard one, guys, just so you know. Y equals 2 times 3 to the x. Final answer. Okay, so there are a bunch of different ways that you can approach this problem. I did it in one method. There are a bunch of different ways that you can solve that. All right, so I'm going to stop right there.